Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the fourth session of the 15th House of Representatives. We have quite a lot of items on the agenda today, so we're going to try to move through this relatively quickly because I'm sure you all want to, everyone, and you all have places to be since the session of the... Anyways, I hereby move this session into order. Would any representative now like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay, good. Clerk, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I'd ask all representatives to stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. You guys can all take your seats now. Thank you.
Yep.
I'd now like all of my fellow representatives to join me in a moment of silence. Okay, moving right along, would the clerk please call the roll for attendance?
Sure. Representative Haysbert.
Present.
Alright, and if you're typing, type in session discussion. Representative Combatant.
Present.
Representative Gatsby.
Present.
Representative Rockwell.
Present.
Representative Richmond. Representative Richmond is marked absent. Representative...
I'd like to make a quick note here. Representative Richmond has votes through proxy.
Oh, so he'll be proxy. Okay.
Mm-hmm. By the way, you marked me absent.
No, I didn't.
Oh wait, never mind. Forget.
Representative Ravetti.
Present.
Representative Vermillion will be marked present and voting abstain. He joined the call earlier and said that he is present, and he'll be voting abstain on all of the bills. Representative M. Joseph Jr. He is present. Representative Lougheed. Representative Lougheed is absent. Representative McTavish. For some reason he's marked as a Democrat and Anubis is a Republican.
That's good.
Okay, I fixed it. Representative McTavish is absent. Well, no, he's voting proxy. Is Lougheed voting proxy?
Lougheed is voting proxy. Yes.
He is, okay.
Yes.
Representative
I have not received.
Okay.
I have not received proxy from McTavish, though.
Alright. Representative Philkov. Alright, is Philkov voting proxy?
Nope.
Then he is marked absent. Representative Anubis. Representative Anubis is absent. Representative Sawyer. Representative Sawyer is present. And Representative Rockefeller. Representative Rockefeller is absent. Alright, with 8 members present, the House has a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll now move on to the presentation and voting of the agenda. Alright, like I said earlier, we have a total of 13 items on the agenda today. Alright, the first item on the agenda is H.R. 1510, a bill for repealing obsolete legislation drafted by Representative Gatsby. The second item is H.R. 1511, a bill for amending the Judicial Reclamation Act of 2016, also presented by Representative Gatsby. The third item is H.R. 1512, the amendment to the Improved Senate Confirmations Act of 2017. This is drafted by Representative Combatant. The fourth item is H.R. 1513, the Conspiracy Act of 2017, drafted by Representative Gatsby. The fifth item is H.R. 1514, the Statute of Limitations Act, drafted by Representative Rockwell. The sixth item is H.R. 1515, the Sentence Length Amendment to the Uniform Code of Military Justice, drafted by Representative Combatant. The seventh item is H.R. 1516, the Database Requirement Act of 2017, drafted by Representative Combatant. The eighth item is H.R. 1517, the Surveillance Program Reform Act, drafted by Representative Joseph Jr. The ninth item is H.R. 1518, the Supreme Court Jurisdiction Act, drafted by Representative Rockwell. The 10th item is H.R. 1506, the Citizenship Revocation Act of 2017, drafted by Representative Combatant. The 11th item is HR 1507, Amendment to 7 U.S. Code as amended by the U.S. Senate, drafted by Representative McTavish. And the 12th item is HR 1503, the Clarified Impersonation Act of 2017, also amended by the U.S. Senate, drafted by Representative Gadsby. And the final item, the 13th item, is HR 1519, the Developer Freedom Act of 2017, drafted by Representative Gadsby, which I believe I sent into committee, so I don't know why it's on the agenda. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that. Okay, so we actually only have 12 items on the agenda.
For some reason, the items on the agenda and the attendance, the names do not match, so when I mark absent, it's not marking for the correct people, so I think we need to...
Perfect.
I
think it's because, like, two people...
Whenever you guys need to make sure that when the items on the agenda where the names are and the attendance all line up.
Alright.
Because the present and absent and all that line up as well.
Okay.
Can we take like a 5-minute recess so I can fix this?
So ordered. We will now take a 5-minute recess to fix the agenda sheet. Okay. Well, welcome back, everybody. We have now, fixed the agenda, and we will now move to a vote on the approval or denial of today's agenda. Would the clerk please call?
Mr. Speaker, point of order.
Oh, yeah, point of order. Recognized. Representative Committee.
Which section of the standing rules gives you the right to send a bill to committee without a vote?
Okay, let me go pull it up.
Wait, what bill are we sending to committee? I didn't know we were.
Gatsby's... the Gatsby, what was that bill called? I forget.
The Developer Freedom Act.
Yeah, the Developer Freedom Act. Give me a second, I need to pull up the standing rules for comments.
Doing some good work.
Committee. Terrence, you want to help me go through this? Because, I know there is a rule, definitely, that
Do you want to just
all
motion
bills
this?
first have to go through committee. It's just that the speaker has the power to bypass committee.
Oh, to bypass committee.
Yeah, so I reserve the power to bypass any bills through committee. But I know for a fact that every bill has to go through committee unless I bypass it. Put a link to the standing rules in the chat. I'm trying to find it.
Not saying,
Rockwell,
not saying
what are you
that-
trying to find? What are you trying to find?
Trying to find where it gives the speaker the power to bypass committee.
To bypass committee?
Yeah, any
Or
legislation.
to send bills to
committees.
committee?
Huh?
Wait, to
No,
bypass
all
bills
bills
to
have
committee?
to go through committee by like
Yeah.
at first. It's just I reserve the power to not send them through committee. And I'm trying to find that section. But I guess the immediate answer to Combs' question is Rule 11, Organization of Committees. All bills, resolutions, and other matters relating to subjects within the jurisdiction of the standing committees listed in this section shall be referred to those committees in accordance with Section 2 of Rule 12 as follows, and it lists all the committees and their various powers. So there you have it. Every bill has to go through committee unless the speaker chooses to bypass committee.
Where does
Alright,
it say?
so can we move on? Or
Yeah, we can move on, I think.
motion to proceed to a vote?
Where is second?
On the agenda,
Second.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yes, second.
Okay. Haysbert.
Good.
Haysbert.
What?
Your vote?
Oh, yeah, aye.
We are in a session, yeah. Representative Combatant.
Yes. Aye.
Representative Gatsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative Ravetti.
Aye.
Representative Joseph Jr. Representative Sawyer. Alright. With 10 in favor, 0 abstaining, and 0 opposed, this agenda passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. With that, we can now move on to any opening remarks. Would any representative like to deliver an opening remark?
Motion to proceed to item 1.
I don't even think we need that motion since nobody said they want to do opening remarks. So, do you want to retract that motion?
I retract the motion.
Thank you. So, the first item on the agenda is H.R. 1510, a bill for repealing obsolete legislation as drafted by Representative Gatsby. I will now give the representative a few minutes to discuss his bill.
Thank you, Mr.
Representative
Speaker.
Gatsby.
Basically, this bill just repeals a few of our laws that have not been enforced in the past month or that can't be enforced due to conflicting legislation. And I'd like to remind my colleagues that no matter how they feel about any of the 4 bills being repealed, or how important they are, if they're that passionate about them, this isn't an indefinite law. They can be reproposed at a later date. But as of right now, and as of the past few months, they have not been enforced, and they're just clogging up the works. So I encourage you all to vote aye. I yield.
Okay. Thank you, Representative Gatsby. Would any other representative like to speak on the issue or make a motion to move to a vote?
Motion
I'd like
to move
to
to a vote.
propose an amendment.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker?
I second the motion to amend.
Mr.
Well,
Speaker?
Yeah, we're ready.
I'm gonna have to go, so unless McTavish gets on, your quorum will be lost.
Well,
If no one raises
well,
the question,
we already are. All right, perfect.
nobody raised the question of quorum.
Yeah, nobody fucking
Alright.
turns. We're still good, right?
He'll be marked abstain.
Okay.
I second the motion to amend the legislation.
Okay. Well, would Representative Haysbert please clarify as to what amendment he is
I think
proposing?
it was Representative Combatant.
Oh, Representative Combatant. I'm sorry.
I'd just like to add, under Section 2, I'd like to add HR 1301, the Federal Election Commission Act 2017, to this bill.
Just a moment.
You want to add the repealing of another bill to this?
Yes. Yes.
I'm making. Can I motion for a 2-minute recess while I add the legislation?
Yeah, do I hear a second to a 2-minute recess?
Second.
I second the motion for a 2-minute recess. We'll now take a quick vote as to whether or not we want to move to a recess. Clerk?
All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
The ayes have it.
The chair would also like to make a note that Representative Joseph Jr. and Representative Sawyer said aye in the chat as to affirm that they would like to move to a 2-minute recess. And with that, we will now move to a 2-minute recess to discuss the amendment proposed by Representative Combatant. We'll see you in a bit. Okay, so we're back after a very brief discussion on what was being added again. Just to remind everyone that H.R. 1301, the act that established the Federal Election Commission, has now been added to be repealed to the Obsolete Law Repeal Act. And
Motion to proceed to a vote.
okay, do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay, with a clear second, we will now move to vote. Clerk, please
I
call the roll.
accidentally missed something. Okay. So a vote on item 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Representative Haysbert.
Aye.
Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Representative Gadsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative Joseph Jr.
Aye.
Flip. Representative Sawyer. Votes
Representative Sawyer votes aye.
aye. With 8 in favor, 0 nays, and 2 abstains, this bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll now move on to the second item on our agenda, which is H.R. 1511, a bill for amending the Judicial Reformation Act of 2016, also drafted by Representative Gadsby. I will now allow the representative a few minutes to discuss this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill just removes the section that adds a few crimes to the Criminal Offense and Punishment Act, which was the precursor to the Code of the United States. Obviously, that can't be enforced anymore as it's no longer law. So all this does is remove the section that adds crimes to COPA. I yield the floor.
Would any of the representative like the floor to discuss?
A motion to proceed.
I
Do
second.
Harry's. Okay. With a clear second, we will now proceed to a vote. Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Haysbert. Representative Haysbert.
Aye.
Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Representative Gadsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative Joseph Jr. Votes aye. Representative Sawyer. Votes aye. With 8 in favor, 0 opposed, and 2 abstaining, this bill passes the House.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll now move on to item 3 on our agenda, H.R. 1512, the amendment to the Improved Senate Confirmations Act of 2017, drafted by Representative Combatant. I will now allow the representative a few minutes to discuss his bill.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. All this bill does is amend the Improved Senate Confirmation Act to ensure that it falls under the Constitution of the United States. I'd like to thank Mr. Clements for raising this point to the Supreme Court, and I've taken action to amend this. That's all I have. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Representative Combatant. The chair would like to make a quick note on the representative's bill. Basically, in my opinion, I don't believe that we need to amend the Senate Confirmations Act in any way because as you all know, the Constitution trumps any legislation passed by Congress, and since the Constitution already says that the Vice President only needs a simple majority to pass both houses of Congress, it would be better, instead of amending the bill, to repeal it altogether, so that we don't have to wait for a Supreme Court ruling, and we don't have to, attach unnecessary amendments to the bill. That's all I have to say. Thank you. Would any other representative wish to speak? Do I hear a motion to proceed to a vote? Okay, well, I'm not really...
A motion to proceed.
Do I hear a second? There we go. With a resounding second, we will now move to a vote.
Representative Haysbert. Representative Haysbert.
Yeah.
Okay. Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Representative Gadsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Nay.
Representative Joseph Jr. Representative Ryan R. Sawyer. Votes nay. With 5 in favor, 3 opposed, and 2 abstaining, this bill passes the House.
We'll now move on to item 4 on the agenda, which is H.R. 1513, the Conspiracy Act of 2017 as drafted by Representative Dr. Gadsby. If I am not mistaken, this act has been amended by the Senate and sent back to the House.
No, that's
Is that a different one?
That's item 12.
My apologies. Anyways, I will now allow the representative a few minutes to speak about this bill.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, this is pretty cut and dry. When me and Representative Joseph, who was Attorney General at the time, drafted the code, obviously it's not perfect, and we left out a couple crimes that could have been integrated. Conspiracy being one of them. I sought counsel from both him and the Senate Majority Leader, asking if the punishment time, which would be 15 days, is reasonable. Both of them agreed. So I encourage you to vote yay. I yield.
Thank you, Representative Gadsby. Would any other representative like to floor?
A motion to proceed.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Second.
With a resounding second, we will now move to a vote. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Representative Haysbert.
Yay.
Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Representative Gadsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative M. Joseph Jr.
Yes.
Representative Ryan R. Sawyer. Votes aye. With 8 in favor and none opposed, 2 abstaining, this bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We will now move on to the 5th item on the agenda. Sorry about that. H.R. 1514, the Statute of Limitations Act, as drafted by Representative Rockwell. I'd just like to say that this act is very, very straightforward. What happened was that myself, and Senator Breslin, which is Fighter Ace, for those of you who don't know, we were going through this. We were going through the code, and we saw that USA does not actually have statutes of limitations, which basically means a certain time frame in which the Justice Department can prosecute someone. And the reason we have those is so that evidence obviously in IRL does not last very long. So in order to preserve the integrity of the evidence and also to keep people from being tried for crimes they committed, say like more than, I believe, 60 days is the max in this act. More than 60 days would be very illogical and also unfair. Therefore, we drafted this bill, and I urge you all to vote aye on it. That's all. Would any other representative like the floor?
Motion to proceed to a vote.
Do I hear a second? Okay. Do I hear a second?
I second.
With a resounding second, we will now move to a vote. Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Haysbert.
Abstain.
Abstain. Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Representative Gatsby.
Nay.
Representative, whoa, wait, wrong person. Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative M. Joseph Jr. Votes aye. And Representative Sawyer. Votes aye. With 5 in favor, 2 opposed, and 3 abstaining, this bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We will now move on to the 6th item on the agenda, the HR 1515, which is the sentence length amendment to the Uniform Code of Military Justice as drafted by Representative Combatant. I will now allow the representative a few minutes to speak about this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What this bill does is introduce maximum and minimum lengths to sentences prescribed to acts under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. This allows for more fair punishment, and of course ensures that punishment isn't too excessive or too lenient. I encourage all my colleagues to pass this bill. Thank you, and I yield.
The chair would like to make a note that he has received proxy from Representative Rivetti that he will be voting aye on all remaining pieces of legislation. So would the clerk please mark that in.
So from items 6 to 12?
Yes.
Noted.
Thank you. And do I hear a motion to proceed, or would any other rep like to
Motion to proceed.
second?
I second.
Okay. With a resounding second, we will now move to vote. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Representative Haysbert.
Nay.
Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Oh, I need to put you as Unity Party, I forgot. Representative Gatsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative M. Joseph Jr. Votes aye. Representative Sawyer. With 8 in favor, 1 opposed, and 1 abstaining, this bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll now move on to the 7th item on the agenda, HR 1516, the Database Requirement Act of 2017, also drafted by Representative Combatant. I will now allow the representative a few minutes to speak about this bill.
Thank you once again, Mr. Speaker. This bill removes the requirement to maintain a database of immigration. Due to the current amount of immigrants, I think we're currently at 250 or so. It's a massive strain on our immigration services, and it turns a lot of people away from immigration services because they have to maintain a database with so many immigrants as well. So essentially, this bill amends the Safer Act to remove this requirement and allows the immigration services to sort of do their job more fluidly. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield.
Thank you, Representative Combatant. Would any other representative like the floor? Do I hear a motion to proceed?
Motion to proceed.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Oh, well, you made the motion to proceed. So. Do I hear a second?
Haysbert made one as well, but
I didn't hear. Okay, with the resounding second from Representative Joseph Jr., would the clerk please call the roll?
Representative Haysbert.
Aye.
Representative Combatant.
aye.
Representative Gatsby.
Nay.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative Joseph Jr. And Representative Sawyer. Alright, with 7 in favor, 2 opposed, and 1 abstaining, this bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll now move on to item number 8 on the agenda, which is HR 1517, the Surveillance Program Reform Act as drafted by Representative Joseph Jr. I will now allow the representative a few minutes to speak on this bill. And since he is typing, I will speak on his behalf. Well, the representative yields the rest of his time to Representative Gatsby, so Representative Gatsby now.
Thank you. Yes, the representative has asked me to speak on his behalf, as he cannot speak. So, what this bill does is it amends one of my bills, which puts forward some restrictions on the intelligence community's ability to spy on people in DC. And all it does essentially is add a few more provisions, and it updates the penalties from COPA penalties, which can no longer be enforced, to U.S. Code penalties, which obviously can be enforced. So I encourage my colleagues to vote yay on this bill. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Representative Gatsby. Would any other representative like the floor?
Motion to proceed.
I second.
With a resounding second, we will now proceed to a vote with the clerk. Please call the roll.
Representative Haysbert.
Aye.
Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Representative Gatsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative Joseph Jr. Votes aye, Captain Welosh. Representative Sawyer. Votes aye. With 9 in favor, 0 nays, and 1 abstaining, this bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We will now move on to the 9th item on the agenda, the Supreme Court Jurisdiction Act, as drafted by Representative. So, very quickly, I'd just like to say that I wrote this bill in conjunction with the Chief Justice, and it was sponsored by Senator Breslin and Representative Joseph Jr. And basically, all this does is, since our federal courts are, on the most part, either are very inactive, which is partly because we do not have a lot of crime in the USA, but also because in my opinion, I do not feel that our federal judges are very qualified. I wrote this act to give the Supreme Court a bit more jurisdiction over cases, and basically all it does is that if the federal courts do not put a case on their docket within 48 hours, the Supreme Court will have the opportunity to hear the case for themselves. And furthermore, what it does is it more so enforces Article 3, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution, which gives the Supreme Court original jurisdiction over cases that would set a new constitutional precedent. And then that's about it. And would any other representative like the floor? Do I hear a motion to proceed?
Motion to proceed.
Do I hear a second?
There was a second.
Okay. We will now proceed to a vote. Please call the roll.
Representative Haysbert.
Aye.
Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Representative Gatsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative Joseph Jr. Representative Sawyer. Alright. With 9 in favor, none opposed, and 1 abstaining, this bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We will now move on to the 10th item on the agenda, the Citizenship Revocation Act of 2017 as drafted by Representative Combatant. The Chair would like to make note that we will be tabling this bill as it is not in conjunction with the bill format. And if the... Oh, yeah, that's about it. I'm going to be tabling this bill.
Point of order.
Yep, I was waiting for that. Go ahead, Representative Combatant.
Never mind. I withdraw.
Okay.
I'd just like to say that this bill was written before the amendment to the standing rules was made.
That's fine, but the Chair would like to make note that that I did inform you that you have to rewrite all of your previous bills in the format, and I also informed Representative Gatsby, who did in fact listen to my advice and rewrote his previous bills. And that's about it. Anyways, since we have tabled that bill, I'd just like to also make note that the representative will have the option of rewriting this bill and presenting it at the next session if he so wishes. Well, moving right along to item number 11 on the agenda, H.R. 1507. This is Amendment to 7 U.S. Code as amended by the U.S. Senate, proposed by Representative McTavish. As the representative is not here to speak on the bill, we will move straight to a vote. If no other representative would like to open discussion.
Someone just throw up.
Okay, we will now proceed to a vote. If the clerk please call the roll.
Aye.
Representative Haysbert.
Yeah.
Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Representative Gatsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative Joseph Jr. Representative Sawyer. With me clicking on everything but the agenda and opening 20 tabs, give me a second. With 9 in favor and 0 against and 1 abstaining, this bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. We'll now move on to our final item on the agenda, H.R. 1503. This is the Clarified Impersonation Act of 2017. This was amended by the U.S. Senate and initially proposed by Representative Gatsby. I will now allow the representative of humans to speak on this bill. Representative Gatsby.
Motion to proceed to a vote.
Oh. Sorry, my mic was muted.
Have it.
Here we go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yeah, this was amended by the Senate because the Judicial Barring Act had already established a section 47 in the U.S. Code, and it had passed before this, so they amended it to rename the section to 48 and 49 instead of 47 48. So I encourage all my colleagues to vote yay. I yield.
Thank you, Representative Gatsby.
Motion to move on to a vote. If
I second.
Okay, we will now move on to a vote. The clerk, please call the vote roll.
Representative Haysbert.
yay.
Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Representative Gatsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative Joseph Jr. Votes aye. And Representative Sawyer votes aye. With 9 in favor, none opposed, and 1 abstaining, this bill passes.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Now that we have completed all items on our agenda, we will now move to closing statements. Does any representative have closing statements that they would like to deliver?
Motion to adjourn.
I hear a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second?
Second.
I hear a resounding second. We will now take a quick vote on whether or not we should adjourn this session.
Sweetheart. Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on, give me a second. I don't know what all that was about, but let me, take a vote. Representative Haysbert. That was half of an aye, but I'll take it. Representative Combatant.
Aye.
Yeah, okay. Representative... Whenever the representative's finished. Okay. Representative Gatsby.
Aye.
Representative Rockwell.
Aye.
Representative Joseph Jr. Aye. Representative Sawyer votes aye. With 10 in favor, none opposed, none abstaining, adjournment passes.
I forgot to make this note earlier, but Representative McTavish also proxied his votes, and he voted aye on everything.
Was he marked? Oh, McTavish did?
Yeah, he sent them before the session was even.
So every bill?
Yeah, every bill.
Okay, I don't think that really changes anything. Yeah, it doesn't change anything.
Yeah,
There it
doesn't.
is. Alright.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you all for joining us for the 4th session of the 15 House of Representatives, and I wish you all a very happy rest of your days. Thank you for joining us.